Okay, guys, so the PlayStation Showcase has come and gone. Overall grade, before I get into any of this, the overall grade I'd give it is probably I want to say an A. I feel like if you were overhyping it, you probably might give it a lower grade. But I think at its core, everything we got is pretty cool. I think what hurt it a lot is Sony's announcing a lot of new IPs, right? And the problem with that is it's hard to get excited over a new IP unless you're just completely sick of the older stuff, right? If you're still into some Naughty Dog stuff with The Last of Us and, Uncharted, or we're looking forward to God of War DLC or something crazy like that, then, you're going to be a little upset. But I think what they offered here is really cool, and I'd love to go through the list. So PlayStation opened up their showcase with a game from Haven Studios, and it was a game called Fair Game, which came off as kind of like a heist game. Nothing like heist, payday, but it just looks like you're doing heists with friends. It definitely looks like to be an online, multiplayer co-op sort of game. So kind of weird, honestly, but I feel like good direction. I think so far, right, Sony really wants to put an emphasis on games as a service and offer more online stuff and a reason to, choose their platform to play games with your friends and stuff. I think this made a compelling argument for that. It did look really interesting, but I do see it getting swept under the rug unless they continue pushing, marketing for it. Now, another one by Arrowhead Studios was Helldivers 2. I never played the first Helldivers, but this looks really fun. I loved the little humor in the beginning. Felt very, something that I could get into. Might be fun to play with some friends. Kind of looks like some co-op alien shooting thing. Again, I'm not familiar with Helldivers, the first game, or how this would relate to the first one, if it's a direct sequel or if it's just kind of like, same thing, just new scenery or something. But I think it looked good. It looked really fun. I'm excited to see this game. So hopefully that one they push more, obviously. After that, it was from EA Ascendant Studios, I think it's called. They had Immortals of Avium. I don't care. Super forgettable. I'm not honest. Okay, another online thing. Whatever. And then from 505 Games, we got Ghost Runner 2. I never played the first Ghost Runner, but I know a lot of people that did, so it just makes sense that there's going to be a Ghost Runner 2, obviously. Looked really cool. I think that's going to, do pretty well. So I might try it out if I ever get around to playing the first Ghost Runner. And then another game that came out, I didn't get the studio or anything like that, but it was called Phantom Blade Zero. At first kind of had some Ghost of Tsushima, had some Jedi, Survivor sort of things with the wall running and stuff. Had some Shikiro Heroes Die Twice. It had a whole bunch of stuff going into this just samurai sort of something about masks. I don't know. Looked really cool though. At the core of it, it probably isn't a game I will pick up unless it's super cheap, a part of some buy 4 get 1 free sale at GameStop, or where they're always doing their pre-owned sales. So unfortunately not a game for me, but the trailer looked really cool, honestly. And then there was a game by the creator of Journey and Abzul, I think it was called. It looks like it's just Journey but with surfing. It looked cool, right? If you're into games from that game company. This isn't being developed or published by them. It's just by the same creative minds behind those titles, from Journey and stuff, working on this game. But it looked interesting, to say the least. That game was called Sword of the Sea. So if you're into those kind of more, I guess, AA indie style games, even though at this point I feel like Journey is kind of blown up to be a little bigger than an indie game, but not for me, but I could see a lot of people enjoying it, honestly. After that, they did Talos Principle 2. And didn't care, honestly. It was whatever. And then there was a game by the creator of Gris, I believe it's called, Gris. This one, the first thing that struck me was just, I got Okami vibes, honestly. It was a giant white wolf thing that seems to have died. I don't know what's up about that. Definitely not a game I will pick up at all. I don't know if this was exclusive. If it came to Game Pass, for example, even PS Plus, I might pick it up there, try it out. But not a game that I really see myself getting into. Hey, maybe someone's out there really interested in Neva, one of the two. However, one game that came after that, probably a game realistically I will not pick up unless it's just kind of super cheap or, on a subscription service, but Cats of the Caribbean looked really interesting. I kind of had, there's a indie game on the Switch eShop. I'm sure it's on Steam and whatnot, but it's called Kitten Squad, I believe. Kind of had that same vibe. I don't know if it's by the same developers or whatever, but really cool looking visuals. I think that it will be a really fun game to kind of just kind of just forget about the world, drift away, forget about just turn your brain off sort of thing. But not really something that I am like looking forward to. And now we get to one that I was really kind of, my initial impression was not great because it's by Square Enix, and I'm not a huge fan. I can't think of any major Square Enix games that I am just in love with. They've done a few good titles, right? But most of their stuff, JRPGs, you got obviously Final Fantasy is the big one. There's not a lot of stuff from Square Enix that I am really, get excited for, I guess you could say. But this one called Foam Stars, it's just Splatoon. That's all it is. And at the surface level, seems really cool because I never got into Splatoon. I bought the first game on the Wii U and it didn't really do anything exciting for me, but then I've seen all the stuff that Splatoon 2 and 3 have done, and I'm like, okay, that looks really interesting, but I've always been afraid to really jump into those two games because I didn't really enjoy the first one all that much, right? So I think this will be a cool way to kind of get into it. And it has this like art style, kind of like Fortnite, I guess, where I can see a lot of like funky, fun stuff that I'm doing in the game. But Foam Stars, I think, I initially thought it was just going to be another crappy online attempt from Square Enix, right? We've seen it that not work out well at all with things like the Avengers, for example. So, when it comes to that whole aspect, I had low expectations. And then I started seeing gameplay and like the premise of it, and I'm like, yeah, it's just Splatoon, but with foam, So Foam Masters, I think, will be kind of fun. I think it'll have a good little following. Whether it blows up or not is, time will tell. But honestly, if it's not exclusive to PlayStation, I didn't look that up per se, but if it is multi-platform, which would be great, but I think that would have been really cool if it was just an exclusive Splatoon style game for for PlayStation. I think would have been really cool. Now, one game that I initially kind of just shrugged off until I started, and luckily I was paying attention to the the whole presentation for it. The Plucky Squire. I'm not really into paper, kind of like Paper Mario, right? I'm not really into that art style, I guess you could say. And I was kind of thrown off by it initially. I was like, oh, okay, whatever, another cool 2D thing. And then it went all Link Between Worlds on me with him coming up in the real world and getting all 3D. And I was like, wait a second. And I started seeing the gameplay of it going back and forth. And I was like, okay, this looks interesting. This is one of the few games that I might actually, try picking up at some point because it looks really cool. I think the art style is really cool. From going into 3D and 2D and going back and forth, it has those Link Between World vibes, especially with the art style when you're in 3D. It has that like little top-down perspective. So I think it'll be really cool to, just another game, kind of like Tunic in a way, to kind of just turn your brain off, sort of. Tunic's probably a bad example for that, but you know what I mean. Kind of just disappear into that world and forget about what's going on around you and just melt away. I think that the Plucky Squire will be that kind of game. So the next game after the Plucky Squire was a game called Teardown, which my initial thought on that game was like Lego 2K Drive or something like that. But, it obviously didn't make sense. I was like, that's weird that they would be showing that right now. So that's when my interest, I initially thought it was Lego 2K Drive for that split second. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then it hit me and I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. And I was like, what is this? And it looks like some sort of Minecraft heist thing. It looks kind of interesting. I don't know how to feel about that. It's kind of a game that I feel like would be, it'll have its little group following for it. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be something for me. And then we get to the big one, the thing that everybody was expecting from the get-go, actually. A lot of people were thinking that maybe they would open up with this because it kind of leaked really badly. But Metal Gear Solid Triangle Strategy. Not really. It's Metal Gear Solid 3. I don't know what's up with the little triangle that they put. I feel like they could have just left that out. But they're calling it Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. And I assume that's because Snake Eater number 3 is the chronologically kind of the first game you'd want to play to start off, the Metal Gear Solid games. So I think that they're going to be doing all the games remastered, but they're going to start off with the third one and forego any numbering, so they don't have to worry about people wondering, oh, well, why are they remaking 3? Right now I gotta go play the other ones. We kind of had that issue with Resident Evil 4. I saw a lot of tweets when that game came out saying people are going to wait until they can play through Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3 and whatnot. And I'm just kind of like, it's, yeah, I get it. It's reasonable to do that, but at the same time, like, you're just never going to get to this game specifically, right? Metal Gear Solid 3, if you were to try to do that with those other games. So I think it's smart for them to just call it Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. I just don't know what's up with that triangle. But then after that, we also got the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection. So if you do want to play 1, 2, and I guess 3 the way it was intended, just I'm assuming, HD and whatnot, maybe 4K, I guess, technically. It's cool because there is a Metal Gear Solid collection for like PS3 that is kind of expensive, so this will be cool to kind of just have them all available. My guess is digitally. I will be surprised if they release the Master Collection physically. Beyond really cool if they do, but again, I think that is going to be a huge game, and it's not PlayStation exclusive. Don't let the marketing lie to you. That will be coming to Xbox. That was announced, I think, yesterday, honestly, or the day before. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I never really got into Metal Gear Solid. My first Metal Gear Solid game ever was the Twin Snakes on the GameCube. Rest in peace. I traded that to GameStop when I was a kid. So, for a DS Lite of all things. So, forgive me on that one. But that was my first Metal Gear Solid experience. And then I played a little bit of Phantom Pain, the prequel, the little thing they did before the actual Metal Gear Solid 5. So, that's about my history with it. So I'm excited for them to, same with Resident Evil. I never really got into Resident Evil, so to be able to play 2, 3, 4 and kind of go in with it, really excited to kind of just jump in from here, and I get the best version of it, So the game after that, I think it's really hard to follow up on Metal Gear Solid, but this game looked a little interesting. It was called Towers of Ashaba, I believe. Yeah, Towers of Ashaba. I don't know. It kind of had like Breath of the Wild, Minecraft, and Horizon Zero Dawn vibes, like all into one game. I don't know how to feel about it. It's not a game that I'm going to be into. I feel like it's going to have a lot of time to sink into it. There's a lot of crafting and stuff, and the premise is cool. I just don't think, with everything else that's going on right now, it's going to be a game that gets buried for me, honestly. And then, of course, they sandwich, I think this is another speaker to this. This is sandwiched between Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy 16. You know what I mean? Like, after this Towers of Ashaba, they went ahead and just announced Final Fantasy 16. Well, not really announced, but they showed a little more gameplay and whatnot. And I mean, I don't care about Final Fantasy. That's not my thing. I'm sure people who, all I've heard from people who are, my friend loves Final Fantasy, they're kind of tired of seeing it. They just want to play it, and that's kind of how I was with Tears of the Kingdom by the end of it. Like, I knew I was going to like the game. Don't show me. You don't have to show me anything. Just give me the game. I will love it. And I feel like at this point, Final Fantasy 16 is not a game that's going to convince somebody to get it. I know that they're taking a new new style with it. It's more of an action adventure game at this point. But I think at its core, same with another game on this list we'll get to, you already know if you like it or not, and that's kind of where it's staying. One game that did catch my attention, though, was Alan Wake 2. Two things about this that really caught my attention is, one, it has strong Resident Evil vibes. While the first Alan Wake game was a little more arcadey, and I feel like it probably just was that time, that style back in the day. Good game, of course, but Alan Wake 2 really feels like they are pushing the limits of a, action horror kind of game. But not only that, it releases on my birthday. So, at this point, like, cool. Like, on an easy game. I know exactly what I'm gonna pick up on my birthday at that point. But another thing is that it's going to be digital only, and this may not be a big deal to some people, but me, I like physical games, as you can see behind me. So I'll probably just pick up the Alan Wake remaster and Alan Wake 2 kind of, on the same day. Or maybe a little, I might pick up Alan Wake remaster digitally on my Xbox, and then, go ahead and pick up Alan Wake 2 when that comes out, and just go at it, because I never really got to play the first game. I wanted to play the remaster, but other games are coming out. It's just how it is. But I have a lot more free time now, so, hopefully we can get through this, unless I'm still playing Tears of the Kingdom by then, because, gosh, that game has so much going. Anyway, back to the list. After that, they announced Assassin's Creed Mirage. By announced, I mean showed gameplay, and I am excited. I am looking forward to them going back to form. This is really what this looked like. Straight up, like, Assassin's Creed 2 vibes, but the good part of it. Older Assassin's Creed games, I don't know if anybody's tried to go back and play them. It's a little tough. I'm not going to lie. It does have its struggles. So to have all of the quality of life features that they've introduced over the years in a more traditional looking Assassin's Creed game, I am excited. I think it's going to be a blast. And I recently picked up a bunch of Assassin's Creed games that I missed out on because I kind of gave up after 3. Black Flag when they lost me, and then they went kind of crazy. I went ahead and picked up, things like Odyssey and Origins and different ones here and there. Ones that just looked interesting. So I'll kind of dabble in those a little bit, kind of get through the story, and then I'm ready for Mirage. I know it's kind of a reboot, kind of. It kind of feels like they're kind of reinventing the wheel, and they have a ton to come after this. So I'm excited for Assassin's Creed Mirage. And then from a studio called The Glory Society, there's a game called Revenant Hill. Not something I was interested in, but just, it was on the list. Gotta tell you about it, right? And like with Final Fantasy 16, Street Fighter 6, if you this isn't gonna change your mind. If you've never been in a Street Fighter before, this isn't gonna be anything new for you. If you love Street Fighter, cool. Next game. It's cool. I like the visuals, honestly. I do think the game's gonna look really cool, but I'm not a Street Fighter fan. I'm more into Mortal Kombat. Even then, I did not care much for Mortal Kombat 1. So, that's whatever. Moving on. One game that did catch my attention, though, is Tower of Fantasy, I believe it was called. It kind of had this futuristic Genshin Impact sort of vibe to it, but with, like, some underwater stuff. Near the end of the trailer, they show, like, person going underwater, and looked really cool, looked really interesting, but I'm not really into those kind of games. So, but it did pique it looked interesting, to say the least. I think this will be a cool game. It'll look good, play well, blah blah blah. And then after that, Capcom came up with Dragon's Dogma 2. Another, if you like the first one, you're gonna like the second one. It's not much to say there, One game that actually got my little sister excited, though, was Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2. I never played any of the Five Nights at Freddy's games ever. I knew it was a huge, cultural phenomenon. It's still pretty popular. I walk through Walmart and see toys for it all the time. But, maybe I'll pick up Help Wanted and Help Wanted 2 at some point. Or maybe I'll just jump into Help Wanted 2. From the looks of it looks like they're not going to be terribly connected. So I could probably just go into it, probably play it with my oldest daughter. She loves jump scares. I think she'll have a lot of fun with it. So after all that, we did jump into PSVR 2. I think Sony should have jumped into PSVR 2 a little sooner, but either way, they did give us a few great games to look forward to. I personally have not gone into PSVR 2 yet. I don't think there's really any games that have really, convinced me to be like, hey, I want to give you $500 for this. So either a price drop or there has to be that one game. And for me, the one game I've played the most on my PSVR 1 is Beat Saber, which they did announce. But a few of the other titles were Resident Evil 4 VR mode. Again, I'm excited for this, honestly. I will first play the game, the normal way, and then down the line I'll probably pick up, kind of like I did with Resident Evil 7, I'll go ahead and pick up the VR version. But, really cool. Like, I know that's going to be a really great experience, all said and done. There was also Arizona Sunshine 2, because apparently zombie games are just kind of the best thing to do in VR, apparently. Arizona Sunshine 2 looked really cool. I played the first one on PSVR, but the controls were kind of crap, not going to lie. So having, I think, those DualSense controllers, going on with the VR 2 is going to make that game phenomenal. The graphics looked good, and I think the overall just humor and style of it is fantastic. After that, we got Call of Duty 4 VR. No, just kidding, obviously. It was Crossfire Sierra Squad, and I shit you not, the first time I saw, when they first showed the dude in the gas mask and all that, I thought we were running Shipment. I thought that it literally looked like a Call of Duty Modern Warfare, like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare back from the day. I think it's going to be great. I think if you're getting PSVR 2, this is going to be a game that will be a lot of fun to play. That more basic, vanilla kind of Modern Warfare gameplay, but it's fun stuff. I think it's going to be a blast. And then from a studio called End Dreams, there was a game called Synapse, which kind of looked like just somebody had taken Superhot VR and just blown it up. They were like, let's just go 100,000%. Looked really cool. But not something that I would really play. I feel like it's too much going on at once. And for a VR game, I know people who are familiar with VR and really into it, probably exactly what they're looking for. But my VR experience is I kind of want more of just a vanilla thing, I guess you could say. And that is when Beat Saber came along. So Beat Saber is actually available right now for PSVR 2, which is really cool. And they introduced a Queen music pack. So a lot of cool new songs to play. That was kind of it for VR 2. I feel like there was something they could have done, a little extra. But, I feel like they're just going to ride on Beat Saber for as long as they can, because that's kind of the game to get for any VR headset. Okay, so after the VR 2 stuff, we get into Bungie. Marathon looked interesting. It was a little CGI thing, whatever. Cool that they're coming out with a new IP, and obviously was not, they were working on that before they got acquired by Sony. So, it'll be cool to see what they do first after all that, but that looked cool. And then Destiny 2 is going to be getting Final Shape or something. I don't play Destiny 2. I don't do all of that, but final DLC, I'm assuming, or final expansion pack, or however that works. Cool. They announced it. After that, we got a game from Firewalk, which was just, obtained by Sony, called Concord. It's an online multiplayer game. I think, again, it's just more of that games as a service thing, trying to push a bunch out, see what sticks, and they'll just run with it. Because you really just need 1 or 2 games to stick, and they will bring in tons of money. So the more you put out there, eventually you'll get a winner, and that kind of feels like what's going on here. And then we get into the the end of it. This is the part that I was kind of hoping to see, like a PS5 Slim or something. But, that was just me being hopeful. What we did get was a PlayStation 5 remote play device. It's basically just a screen between a DualSense. It's just to cut a DualSense in half, put a screen in it, and that's it. It's Wi-Fi only, so you're not going to be directly tethered to the PS5, which, like the Wii U, right? For example, the Wii U's gamepad had no latency, perfect experience when it came to off-TV play. They should have done that, because realistically, if you're looking to remote play your stuff, I think there are much better, more convenient options when it comes to being on the go. And if you're going to be at home, I get it. Maybe you have your PS5 at a desk and you want to play in bed or on the couch. Or maybe you have it on the couch, but you want to go lay down in bed, or, someone's using the TV or whatever. There's situations. This is a, side table accessory. It'll sit on your nightstand, sit on your coffee table, end table, whatever, and you'll be able to pick it up and go. Maybe it's something you take with you on a long trip. You get a nice little case for it. But I think just for grab-and-go gameplay, that's not going to be it. And I think something like the Backbone controller with, an iPhone here would be the better way to go, because then you're only spending an extra $100. You already have the device, and furthermore, it works just fine. It works flawlessly. The only benefits is you're going to get, the haptic stuff, all that junk that the DualSense does, maybe gyro even, I assume. But the core of it, remote play has always been so spotty for me when it comes to PlayStation. I've had good experience using like xCloud from Xbox, but remote play's always been hit or miss. And I have hopes, but it's not for me, and I feel like it's not for a lot of people. There are more people that shouldn't get this than there are that will, which is always a bad sign for a product, in my opinion. With that said, though, we also got PlayStation Buds. So if you are interested in having the best studio quality sounding headphones that aren't directly from Sony, well, then go ahead and get PlayStation earbuds. The design's kind of cool. I do like the little sliding mechanism that they did, but you'd have to be hardcore. You hardcore PlayStation fanboy to be repping these out in public. Now, if they have a good way of popping them in and it, pairs automatically with the PS5 and the microphone works well, you don't have to use the microphone. Because that's the problem with a lot of wireless earbuds, that you can pair to the PS5 and get some sort of functionality out of them, but it's always the microphone that sucks. So, I guess you could use the DualSense as the microphone, just have the earbuds in, but it'd be nice to just have that all-in-one thing going on with the earbuds themselves. But it is what it is. Finally, we close out the entire showcase with Spider-Man 2. And I got some interesting stuff here for Spider-Man 2. I'm just going to read right off here. So my initial response was, this is not Spider-Man. Like, how are they closing it out without Spider-Man 2? I was very confused. I was like, this isn't Spider-Man 2. It's some dude in the jungle. Well, apparently the dude in the jungle is hunting, trying to find a challenge for himself. I don't know, some big rich dude. He's just has a private military and is hunting people for fun, trying to find an equal or something. I don't know what's going on with that, but he's looking. At first I thought he was hunting for symbiote Spider-Man, right? The Venom Spider-Man, which is cool that we get Venom Spider-Man. That's really cool. But it turns out he's hunting for Lizard, Dr. Connors, who is Lizard. So that's cool. Goes to Queens, leaves the jungle, goes to Queens, all that stuff. And then first thing they point out is he can switch from Spider-Man. I don't know if you can do this seamlessly, like in GTA 5, you can switch from Franklin to Trevor. That remains to be seen. I don't know if it's just a story thing, where sometimes you'll be Spider-Man, sometimes you'll be Miles, whatever. But they both have flying suits. That's a thing. Really cool. I think that opens up a lot of traversal around New York. Instead of having to, just free fall off a tall building and then swing when you get the chance, you can glide potentially, like just go straight down through. So that'll be really cool. Again, we're looking for Dr. Connors, and in this process, we see Genki, who has some sort of drone vulture-looking thing, really cool. But that gets destroyed, so I don't know if that's a long-term thing. This definitely looked later in the game. I'm not gonna lie, this looked like maybe the first few hours after the initial stuff. But yeah, and then I get a sense at the end of it, we're gonna have, the way the trailer ended, we're gonna have like a Miles versus Peter thing. Like, it feels like classic. He's turning evil, symbiote suits getting to him, and I feel like Miles Morales is gonna have to fight Peter Parker. It's gonna be a Spider-Man versus Spider-Man fight, and whether they do something cool, like you get to pick your side, whether this plays into a Spider-Man 3 at the end, where maybe you get to Venom is a huge thing or something. I don't know. Really cool. This trailer was phenomenal. I think I'm hyped. I already knew I was going to get the game, but like Tears of the Kingdom, at this point, I don't really want to see any more. Just give me the game. But we still didn't get an initial release date. It just still says fall 2023. So, that was pretty much it. So once again, I would give this a grade A for the full showcase. I am super excited, and I think that there's a lot going here, and I think that Xbox's showcase just got, like the one for June. I think that is even more just got to come strong with their games. But we will do that when that comes. We'll compare them, and I'll make a separate video when that happens. Compare them when everything goes down, and until then, I'll see you next time. If you made it to the end, please drop a like. Helps me out a ton. Subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Link will be in the description. All that good stuff. But I will see you in the next one. Bye.